welcome. Okay, welcome to the free Astrotheology course. I'm Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. Here is our textbook. This is the Devil's Pulpit. The author is Robert Taylor. Okay, the link to the free PDF is in the description area of this video, along with other links to free PDFs, also links to the Ancient Ibaryath books that I've written. So thanks to everyone who has shown support by purchasing my books. You absolutely must know linguistics. Linguistics is a natural law. Language is a natural law. Okay, so we must know it, and we have been taking a beat down for not understanding linguistics. Okay, so my books teach you the 10 Commandments and the terms of the contract, okay, Deuteronomy 28, etc. All right, so thank you to everyone who is supporting me. Also, there's links to my classes. Y'all can check it out. Everything is very affordable. So let's get into it. We left off in the introduction on page 6. Page 6, okay? So let's pick it up. I got about 1 hour, and then I got to bounce, okay? So we're going to try to get through 3 pages, okay? Let's make it do what it do. Okay, so here we are. The SU and sun during the year passes through these signs. What signs? The zodiac signs. You can see the zodiac signs at the top of the page, along with their glyphs. Okay, along with their glyphs. As a matter of fact, let me show y'all. So here you see Aries. Aries is unique. Let's go through this. Aries. Take a look at the horns. Okay, so the horns at the top are pointing downward. You can confuse Aries with Taurus, right? But the horns of Taurus are pointing upward. Y'all see that? So this is how you can easily remember them. Aries is the beginning of the of the year, which is springtime for modern astrologers. The horns are pointing downward. Taurus, the horns are pointing upward, and the face is a circle, whereas Aries is just like a little line. All right? So let's go to the next one. Gemini is 2 lines connected at the top and bottom. Looks like Roman numeral number 2. Okay, that's Gemini. The next is Cancer. Now these are supposed to be 2 breasts, but they look like a number 6 and a number 9, right? Can y'all see that? Cancer looks like a number 6 and number 9 turned on the side, but it's supposed to be 2 breasts. Okay, so that's Cancer. Isn't it interesting, y'all, that Cancer is supposed to be 2 breasts? When you think about breast cancer, why would they name this Cancer? Something to think about, right? Now the next one is Leo. So you can think of Leo, you can look at that little U shape, and it has a little hook. The hook is pointing upward, right? On this side. You can think of that as a lion's mane or a lion's tail. Okay, but me, it works to think of this as a lion's tail. Makes it easy to remember and to distinguish it from one zodiac sign and the other, okay? Virgo looks like a letter M. Y'all see Virgo right here? It looks like a letter M. For example, Mary, Virgo Mary, or Virgin Mary, Mother Mary, right? Or Mama Mary, depending on what part of the world you live in. So it's a letter M. Can y'all see it? And then it has these lines that are also pointing downward. But really all you need to remember is the letter M for Mary. And Mary is supposed to be a virgin. Y'all got that? Virgo, virgin. Okay? Libra. So here's Libra. Can y'all see the scales? Libra is supposed to be the balanced scales. Libra is unique. None of the other zodiac signs look like it except for Aquarius, right? Aquarius is two lines, two horizontal lines. But you can easily distinguish Aquarius from Libra, right? Because Aquarius is lightning bolts. Some people think it's water, but it's actually lightning bolts. Or waves of the sea, it's actually lightning bolts, right? Aquarius, the water bearer, clouds carry water, right? And lightning comes from clouds. See the difference? Okay? There's really no other zodiac sign you can confuse Libra with, or that you can confuse Aquarius with. Okay? So note the differences. I'm teaching you how to study right now. Okay? Now, look at Scorpio. Scorpio is also a letter M. So Scorpio might be confused with Virgo, right? Here's Scorpio. It's a letter M. Let's go back to Virgo. Virgo is a letter M. Y'all see it? So these can be confused easily, right? So how to distinguish them? Virgo has an extra loop. Y'all see it? In other words, you can think of Virgo being more fancy, okay? Or Mother Mary. Women like to have what? They like to dress fancy. Okay, so she got this, or Virgo has this extra loop, whereas Scorpio is just a plain old letter M, and the line is pointing downward. All right? Y'all got it? Or you can think of this downward line as Scorpio's stinger, however you want to think about that. Okay? But Scorpio is just a plain looking letter M, and Virgo is a fancy M with an extra loop. See the difference? Y'all can see the differences, right? Okay. Oh boy. Sagittarius is a bow and arrow, so y'all should be able to remember Sagittarius, right? The cantor, or the half man, half horse with a bow and arrow, okay? And then Capricorn. Capricorn is right here. Capricorn is a little bit difficult. You have to think about Capricorn. Y'all see Capricorn right here where my finger is? See that? But if you tilt it like this, it becomes a letter C. Y'all see the letter C for Capricorn? So C for Capricorn. All right? Just be creative. Okay, it looks like a fancy cursive C. Do y'all see it? A fancy cursive C with a circle at the bottom. Can y'all see it? Or you can distinguish it by whichever one has a little circle at the bottom. However you want to remember it, okay? But that's how you can distinguish it. Again, Aquarius, lightning bolts. Lightning bolts. Okay, and then Pisces. Pisces, this is the vesica, right? Two circles, but cut in half and joined in the middle. The two fishes, right? This is a symbol for Christianity. Christ and the vesica. So this Pisces sign is unique. It doesn't look like any of the other signs, so y'all should be able to remember that. Okay, but it's two half circles and then a line connecting them in the middle. Okay? This is the vesica. You always see JC, the Christ figure, inside of a vesica. This is the ictus. Okay? Anyway, that's that. That's how you can remember. I hope y'all heard everything I was saying. I just saw a message that my connection was off. That my connection, yes, was off. But anyway, if you heard me, I don't feel like going through it again. You now know how you can distinguish one zodiac sign from the other quickly and accurately. Okay? So let's begin on page number 6 in our first paragraph. The SUN sun during the year passes through these signs. Now remember, there's 30 degrees or 30 days between each sign. So we're dealing with a 360-day year, not a 365-day year here, okay? So the calendar has been adjusted, right? So keep that in mind. The SUN sun during the year passes through these signs. I just mentioned them, the zodiac signs. Rising above the creator in spring. So here's the sun. Here's the equator. So the sun rises above the equator. This is what, y'all? This is Passover for the Jewish people and the Hebrew Israelites. The Christians, it is Easter. Okay, so the sun is traveling northerly. The sun is springing up. It springs above. This is the equator. Okay, this is the celestial equator, 0 degrees. Okay, y'all? All right. So the sun is rising above the equator in the spring. Okay, y'all? And reaching the greatest declination or distance. So the sun rises to its highest distance from the equator. Okay, so the sun rises to its highest distance from the equator. That's going to be what, scholars? That's going to be the summer solstice, June 21, June 22. Okay, when the sun reaches this point, the sun is said to be what? The Christ, right? The Christ. All right, y'all? The Christ. Okay? And when the sun is at its highest point in the sky during the day, at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, the sun reaches its highest point in the sky during the day. This is where we get the term or the phrase, the Most High. The Most High. Okay? It is a concrete description of the height of the sun during the day. Y'all got it? And it has been applied to deity. It has been applied to deity or the supreme creator of the universe. Now, if y'all have been following my work, you should know that the Big Bang never happened. The earth always was and always will be. No beginning, no end. Okay? And man always was, not subject to birth and not subject to what? To eternal death. Why? Because intelligence, consciousness, awareness is eternal. It had no beginning, had no end, and man is thought. But that's another story. I'm getting off the topic. And when the sun reaches its greatest declination or distance from the equator to the north at midsummer or in 3 months, 3 months is 90 days, right? We're dealing with 90-day periods. Okay? And inclining towards the equator at autumn. So summer solstice, now we're back to the equator. Okay, y'all? Now when the sun is at the summer solstice, its highest point in the northern part of space, okay, that's what it's meant by greatest declination. It's at its furthest distance from the celestial equator, which is 0 degrees, which is a projection outward. A projection outward. The celestial equator is a projection outward into space of an imaginary line that we call Earth's equator, which is 0 degrees. Okay, y'all? Okay, so the sun, let me demonstrate it so y'all get the concept. Here is the vernal equinox, March 19, 20, 21, something like that. Spring equinox. So the sun is moving. Remember, the sun springs above the equator. Now it's moving northward until it reaches its furthest distance from the equator. Okay, now it has nowhere to go but horizontally, because it can't go higher, right? Or it can fall. And in fact, it does begin to fall toward the south. It falls southerly. This is the fall or the autumn equinox, 0 degrees. Now the sun is falling. And when it falls below the equator, this is Christ being crucified, or Christ or the sun crossing below the equator. Do you understand? So as the sun is falling from its highest point in the northern part of space, which is the summer solstice, the number of daylight hours are becoming less and less and less. There's only two options, right? It's either nighttime or darkness, right? Or daytime or light. So the number of dark or nighttime hours are becoming more than the number of daytime hours. Y'all got it? So the evil, the bad is represented as dark or black, right? So the bad, the evil begins to overtake the Christ. Hence, in the Gospels, Christ gets slapped and, beaten. Christ gets humiliated. So the sun, as it falls, is being humiliated by the darkness, because there's nothing the sun can do about it. The sun will continue to fall southerly, because that's the way the system is set up. So Horus's evil brother Set, sunset, y'all get it? The sun rises in the day, Horus rises during the day. Horus passes over the horizon. So what is this? This is the zone of Horus, or Horus zone. Y'all got it? The sun rises over the horizon. 12 o'clock, the sun reaches its highest point in the sky, which is called the zenith. Okay? And then the sun begins to fall all the way until when? Until the sun sets. And now it's dark. Okay? Clear, y'all? All right. Now, so in the fall, the sun is falling southerly. It crosses below the celestial equator, which is here. So this is Christ crucified. Clear? Now the sun continues to fall. September 29th is the opening of the gates of hell. What is this telling us? Hell is dark and it's cold. How cold is it? It's so cold that it's hot. For example, freezer burn, right? Things can become so cold that they begin to burn. Now, at December 21, which is here, let me show y'all. This is better. Okay, y'all? Summer solstice, winter solstice. These are the equators, okay? Winter solstice, December 21, December 22, the sun reaches its furthest distance to the south. Okay, so this is called winter solstice. All right, the sun cannot go any lower, so it's going to move horizontally for 3 days. Okay, so December 21, 22, up until December 24 at 12 o'clock midnight, which is the beginning of 25, December 25, the sun will move 1 full degree. It will spring 1 full degree northward, and it will continue springing up until it does what? passes over the celestial equator, which is Passover and which is Easter. When the sun crosses below, that's Christ crucified. Y'all understand that? Clear? Everybody clear on the concept? What's happening in nature? Christ, summer solstice, having the same nature. It's the same thing. Christ is the devil in the winter. Hell is in the winter. Okay, y'all, hell is a bottomless pit. There's no bottom to space. Y'all get it? So, dense darkness, right? You go to hell, you're in dense darkness and you burn with eternal fire. Clear, y'all? The concepts are clear? Okay, these are the cardinal points. Okay, so Pisces and I believe it's Libra. And then Leo and then Capricorn. I believe, y'all check it. Those are the four cardinal points. Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 7 or 17 will give you them. And I think it's Revelation chapter 1. Okay, so there's a man. Maybe I got it wrong. Y'all go check it. I need to review it. I don't know why I don't remember it. But anyway, y'all go remember. These are the four living creatures. Okay? Those are the four living creatures. Okay? So let's begin. Y'all go check the four living creatures. Okay? And check the which zodiac signs the seasons begin with, because I don't remember for sure. Okay? But anyway, let's continue. If I don't remember something for sure, I'll always tell you. Okay, so let's go back to it. The sun during the year passes through these zodiac signs, rising above the equator in spring and reaching the greatest declination or distance from the equator to the north. That's the summer solstice at midsummer or in 3 months. Okay? And inclining towards the equator at autumn. So the sun is falling. This is where we get the expression fall. Fall, the sun is falling. That's why we call autumn the fall, okay? And that's why we also call spring the spring. The sun is springing upward, the sun is falling downward, okay? Now let's continue. All right, so and inclining towards the equator at autumn, which the sun crosses the equator at the autumn equinox. That's Christ crucified. And then passing our winter months south of the equator. Okay, so the sun is at the winter solstice. Okay, it's lowest point in the southern part of space, or its greatest distance from Earth's equator. It's the same meaning. Okay, equivalent statements. And it is the sun, and it is this declination of the sun which gives our seasons. Y'all got that? How many seasons? 4. Okay, and the point of view is from the north, the northern hemisphere, okay? So let's continue. For when the sun, the S-U-N sun, is north of the equator in the heavens, it shines to the north of the equator on earth. So that's when the sun is what? In the summer solstice, is going to shine on the northern part of the earth, or the northern hemisphere, right? The earth is divided into 2 hemispheres, north and south. Okay? All right. It shines to the north of the equator on the earth and gives summer to that part and winter to the south, and vice versa. Okay? So when the sun is at the summer solstice, we have summer in the northern hemisphere, and then there's winter in the southern hemisphere. And when the sun is at the winter solstice, December 21, 22, there is summer in the southern hemisphere, okay? And then there is winter in the northern hemisphere, okay? Now this is, of course, having to do with a globe, You know, so there's an argument right now that the earth is flat, and I don't know how this would work for flat earth. Y'all go watch Santos Bonacci. You may be able to find something with him. His work is very good. Okay, there's another guy named Micah. I think it's Micah Dent. I think his YouTube channel is Truth Bombs. Check his channel. Y'all might be able to find some stuff there too. And there are others. I just don't know who they are. But y'all can check and find this out on your own. Now observe the cut. So we looked at the cut where the sign Aries is. Here is the cut. The globe is cut in two halves. Okay? So the north and the south, east and the west. Okay? Now observe the cut where the sign Aries is. Aries is the autumn equinox. There is the fish. And where the sign Taurus is, there is the ram. And where the sign Gemini is, there is the bull, etc. The reason is this. So the reason why you're seeing two signs. Here's the reason. The Escheat sun does not cross the equator year after year in the same part of the heavens, but gradually recedes. Okay, so this is the progression of the equinoxes. Before it has completed the entire circuit, it is found on the equator, and that is our spring. At that, the point in the ecliptic, which we call the first point in Aries, okay? So this is in other words, this is the first zodiac sign. Okay, so here y'all see Aries. So here is the spring equinox right here. That's in the west, right? So Aries at the equator. Also you see Pisces. Y'all see it? So on and so forth. Okay? This is what he's talking about. So let's continue. Okay, so before the sun has completed the entire circuit, that's from the first zodiac sign to the 12th zodiac sign. The sun is found on the equator, and that is our spring. And that the point in the ecliptic, which we call the first point, is Aries. So the ecliptic is that wavy line, okay? So that's Aries, the beginning of spring. And to this point, we give the mark of the ram's horn. That's Aries. Let it be where it will. Okay, so even though the spring is moving, it's still going to be Aries. Okay, now let's continue. Now, 2,500 years ago, this point was in the constellation called Aries. Okay, 2,500 years ago, spring began in Aries. Hence, you had the Jews blowing the ram's horn. But now, it's in Pisces. Okay? Progression of the... But not... Okay, so now 2,500 years ago, this point was in the constellation called Aries, or where we have marked the ram's head. And it is now in the fishes. It is in Pisces. Okay, y'all? So now it's in Pisces. Y'all see it? That's why you see Aries and Pisces. But that is the equinoctial point. That is, the equinoctial point has receded, going backwards, right? More than an entire sign during this period. And so in other words, it went backwards one whole sign. The equinoctial point went backwards one whole sign. Okay, and now it is now receding in the same ratio, so that in 25,000 years. Now, it's interesting, right? So their great year, according to this author, a great year according to this author, is 25,000 years. So you would need to divide 25,000 by 12 to get the number of years in an age. For example, the apostles asked JC, when is this age going to end, and what will be the sign of your coming? Right? Or in other words, the last days. Okay? Modern astrologists that I have seen, they're saying that a great year is 25,900. Okay, but here we see, according to this author, according to the Devil's Pulpit, a great year is 25,000 years. Okay, so that in 25,000 years, this point will go backwards the whole circle. And the first point of Aries will again be in the ram. Okay, y'all got that? And there is strong evidence that more than one such period has elapsed since time or the earth was. In other words, it's gone from Aries all the way through Aries, which is 25,000 years, many times. So if it's done it 4 times, that would be 25,000 times 4, which is 100,000 years. If it's done it 8 times, I guess that would be 200,000 years, right? 25,000 times 4, 25,000 times 8. Y'all see it? Okay, let's continue. This retrogression of the equinoctial points, the equinoctial points are moving backwards. Okay, we just showed that. Because of this retrograde motion of this crossing point brings on the spring earlier than it apparently ought to be. Okay? The effect is the apparent forward motion of the whole constellations or stars from west to east. So the direction is from west to east, okay? From west to east, in the direction of the ecliptic and about the poles of the ecliptic. So the direction is in the direction of the ecliptic and about the poles. And about the poles of the ecliptic, okay? The poles of the ecliptic. Okay, let's continue. Marked in the cut with 2 dots. Okay, thus, 1 north and 1 south. So let me show you the poles. So here's the first pole. Y'all see the dot? That's the south pole of the ecliptic. And this is the north pole of the ecliptic. Okay? So the progression of the equinox is moving west to east, and about these 2 poles. Okay, so I guess about means like this. Okay? So let's continue. Give me 1 second, y'all. All right. Okay, here we are. Okay, so let's continue. This progression of the equinoctial points is called this regression rather of the equinoctial points is called the precession of the equinoxes, because this retrograde motion of this crossing point brings on the spring earlier than it apparently ought to be. The effect is the apparent forward motion of the whole constellations. There are 48 constellations, so the whole system is moving, right? Or stars from west to east in the direction of the ecliptic and about the poles of the ecliptic, marked in the cut with 2 dots. Thus, 1 dot north and the other dot south. I just showed it. This apparent motion of the stars about the poles of the ecliptic affect the relative situation of the stars. Okay? Not with each other, but in relation to the equator and poles of the heavens. For these poles, or the North Star, okay, y'all got that? One pole is the North Star. For these poles, or the North Star, will make a revolution about the pole of the ecliptic. And the constellation Ram, that's Aries, y'all. Okay, it's saying C-cut, which was on the equator, is now north of it, or north of the equator. Okay? It's passed above the equator. And as this constellation, that's Aries, takes the course of the ecliptic, it is evident that 4,000 years ago, it was south of the equator. And the bull, that's Taurus, was on the equator. Now do y'all understand why Moses and the ancient house of Yasharallah were said to be in Egypt 4,000 years ago? Well, there you have it. They did the calculation astrologically. That's how they correlated the reigns of the pharaohs. Okay, that's how they established time, whether y'all know it or not. Based upon the reigns of the pharaohs, which they correlate astrologically. Okay, so the Egyptians were worshiping the bull. That's telling you what the zodiac sign is, right? Because the religion and the images and idols, rituals and ceremonies, they relate to the zodiac signs. I went over that, right? So when there's a change of a zodiac sign, the old religion and its symbols leave. They're replaced with new ones. Okay, so that's how they knew that. All right? So you just learned something that most other people don't know. Okay? So let's continue. And the constellation Ram, which was on the equator, is now north of it. And as Aries constellation takes the course of the ecliptic, it is evident that 4,000 years ago it was south of the equator. And then the bull, or Taurus, was on the equator. And the sun in that sign began the year. Y'all see that? And the sun in Taurus began the year 4,000 years ago. So that's how it works, okay? The evident origin of the worship of the bull, or Apis, among the Egyptians, and of the respect to the cow among the Hindus, it was the period when these signs, the bull, the lion, the scorpion, changed to the eagle. So the scorpion was eventually changed to an eagle. Okay? And the man, that's Aquarius, marked the principal divisions of the year. Y'all got that? Okay, so this is what I was talking about. So here are the cardinal signs in the Bible. We have the bull. So those cardinal signs were for 4,000 years ago. The bull, the lion, the scorpion, and the eagle. So this is what you would correlate to Ezekiel chapter 1, the four living creatures. Okay, these are the four living creatures. Go check it in Ezekiel chapter 1, and chapter 1, verse 7, or 1 through 17, and then go check it. I think it's in Revelation chapter 1. Okay, the four living creatures: the bull, the lion, the scorpion, which was changed to an eagle, and the man. The man is Aquarius, y'all. Aquarius, the androgynous man. Who is the man with a jar of water? That's Aquarius. Okay, so they mark the principal divisions of the year, the four seasons. Okay, so your four living creatures actually are four seasons, They are, in fact, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Okay, the 4 seasons. So let's continue. And were kept with religious rites by the ancients. I just discussed that. Portions of which were incorporated with Judaism, as I just mentioned. That's a religion, not a nationality. And afterwards with Christianity. And hence we find them associated in Trinity Church with Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John as representatives of the 4 seasons. Y'all see how this is working? Now, in reading Taylor's discourses, you will better understand a number of references. For in his first and second discourse, now republished, he speaks of nearly all these signs. What signs is he speaking of? The bull, the lion, the scorpion, and the eagle. Okay? And so in others. And in the first discourse makes considerable reference to Sagittarius, the archer, which should be represented half man and half horse. And in the figure in the cut, the horse part is left out. Okay, so when you look at that cut, you won't see the horse. You'll just see the man part. Okay? 4 contractions. Notice that, y'all. Contractions. An example of a contraction would be Sagittarius, only showing the man part but not the horse. Or let's say with the Tetragrammaton, which is what most of y'all are familiar with, not showing the 4 letters, but you just show 2. Okay, that's where y'all get the YAH pronunciation. It is a contracted form. All right? Oh, let's continue. Notice, for contractions are used in the signs. Contractions are used in the zodiac signs, but the entire ram, bull, etc. are frequently seen. Now note the relationship of these contractions. On page 8, these contractions beautifully explain Egyptian hieroglyphics and writing symbols. So all of y'all who are still under the misconception that the zodiac signs are some type of wicked, evil tools, well, you should see now that you're sadly mistaken, because they have been contracted to form symbols that are used in writing. So if you're reading something, guess what? You just might be reading zodiac symbols that have been contracted and you're not aware of. Or if you're studying the Medu Neter, well, guess what? These contractions beautifully explain Egyptian hieroglyphics and writing by symbols. Okay, so now the Egyptian hieroglyphics and writing by symbols is astrological, all having its source from the Maserat, the Zoad, the Zodiac. Okay? All right, so nature has been hidden from you, right under your nose. In fact, right in front of you. Most of y'all are writing or reading something, at least on a daily basis. Okay, but the whole basis of that is the Zodiac. Okay? Nobody really argues about the Egyptian hieroglyphs being the first writing. But of course, they got it from their ancestors, right? Because as Dr. Clark said, Egypt, or Kemet, was the flower of Nile Valley civilization. So they were not the first, and they were not the most technologically advanced. They learned what they learned from their ancestors. Okay? The only difference is that they built in stone, according to Dr. Clark. All right? So let's continue. Even your writing comes from astrology, comes from nature, the zodiac, the Maserat, the Zoad. Page 8 continued. Besides these constellations, called the signs of the Zodiac, all the prominent stars were grouped by the ancients, making 48 constellations. So our ancient ancestors only recognized 48 constellations, and that's all we should recognize is 48 constellations, unless we have powerful or undeniable evidence that our ancient ancestors recognized more than 48 constellations, and they were hidden from the masses. If it's a constellation that the hybrids claim to have discovered, don't believe it. Okay? Why? Because we are to do what? Follow the traditions, culture, and heritage. You can include science in that, of our ancient foremothers and forefathers, and there's absolutely no way that any modern hybrid knew more about astrology or any of the sciences than our ancient foremothers and forefathers. It's just impossible. Okay? So there were 48 constellations according to our ancient ancestors, and these all had a theological character. Theological, y'all hear that? A theological character. That means gods, deities. They were personified, anthropomorphized, given human characteristics and personalities. So we already know that this is talking about what? The renegade Moors, the Brotherhood of Saturn, the Dark Priesthood, added the theological characters to the 48 constellations. Y'all hear? Okay? So this is the religious remix. Frequently changeable. So the 48 constellation, and all these had a theological character, frequently changeable with the position of the sun. So depending on the position of the sun relative to the constellation, the character of the constellations would change. For all would either be rising, setting, culminating, so it means coming to the meridian with the sun, advancing, going forward, or receding, going backward from the sun. For the sun, SUN sun, being always in apparent motion, afforded all these varieties. Okay? And the apparent motions, it says apparent, it's italic. It's apparently moving. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's an optical illusion. Okay? So that's why he's saying apparent motions of the heavenly bodies were well known to the ancients. Y'all see that? This stuff was well known. Everybody knew about it. Not like today, where it's hidden, including the doctrine of eclipses, which requires no other knowledge for their solution. The ancients, too, at a very early period became acquainted with the true system of astronomy. Okay, science, not religion. And this effected a gradual change in their religious notions. So notice the remix, y'all. Our ancient ancestors did not worship. They were not worshiping religions. They were not worshiping external deity. Religion is a relatively new phenomenon. So as religion was added in, as natural phenomenon was anthropomorphized or personified to have characteristics of men and women. They began to change it, tweak it. Why would they tweak it? Well, because the social, economical, political conditions changed, right? And they wanted to tweak it so that it would support their system, okay? Their paradigm, their worldview, their goals. So they would change the theology. Same way they change in theology right now, right? Or they change the Constitution. They say the Constitution is a living document. And so they try to change it, okay? Not try, but many have changed it, right? So in other words, if I want to steal something, I'm just going to change the Constitution to make it legal for me to steal in whatever way I want to steal. Or if I want to take your property, if I want to steal your property, I can just change the laws or create statutes or codes, right? So I can steal it. That's why they change, okay? Or they call it a living document, so on and so forth, okay? Subject to interpretation of modern times, all right? And when satisfied the descent of the sun in the autumn, okay, so the sun is falling, okay, and when satisfied that the southward movement of the sun in autumn was a natural and beneficial consequence to the world, the odious scorpion had to give place to the eagle, by which the ancients were seen on the eastern horizon with the scorpion. When the bull was on the western, the lion in the zenith, okay, so the summer solstice would have been the lion 4,000 years ago. Y'all got it? And the man or Aquarius on the opposite or under the meridian. So I think what they're saying is that summer solstice would have been Leo the lion 4,000 years ago. Okay, they were in the Taurus zodiacal age. So Taurus would have been at the spring equinox. Leo the lion would have been at the summer solstice. And then at the opposite end of this line, summer solstice, winter solstice, would have been Aquarius. Okay? The androgynous man. Okay? All right, but y'all should know that according to the scholars, in ancient Near East culture, men never carried a jar of water. Men never carried water. So Aquarius would have been a woman carrying water. But y'all see the remix, right? Y'all see the remix. Okay, now let's continue. So the odious scorpion had to give place to the eagle. Okay, so they replaced the eagle with the scorpion. Why did they do it? Because when the sun is falling, it's getting dark. People do evil things in the dark. People die, right? A scorpion stings you with his tail. You got a stinger on the tail, okay? And that scorpion, when it stings you, the bruise from the stinger is supposed to look like two lips. So hence Judas kissed JC. Now men don't kiss men to identify them, right? Nobody's going to kiss you to identify you. Okay, so what is this telling us? Judas betrayed JC, the Christ figure. Hence the scorpion, the stinger of the scorpion. Okay? So in the fall, the sun is being humiliated. There's death, there's destruction, etc. This is where that's coming from. Okay, so they replaced the eagle with the scorpion because they thought scorpion is more representative of betrayal, death, destruction, all of these things that happen in the fall. Okay, things start to die. People get hungry. People will betray you, right, to steal your stuff. They ain't got no food. They ain't got a place to stay. So they come and they trick you, betray you, kill you, steal your things, and then sleep in your house. This is what happened to us in North America, but all throughout the Americas. When they stole our property, they used public policies to cheat us out of our property. They used violence, direct violence, right? Y'all remember that? To force us to leave. You know, you can be riding on your horse or in your horse and buggy. They shoot you. Then put your body on the buggy and send it back to your house so that your consort and young heirs see it. And they tell you to leave town. And then they do what? They take your land. Y'all see it? Or they use taxes. They appraise your property so high. First of all, this all starts with what? Denationalizing you. Calling you black, getting you to call yourself black, colored, Indian. So they denationalize you. You're no longer a Moorish American. They denationalize you. And then they make you pay taxes, right? Appraise your land at such a high level that eventually the tax burden will cause you to go broke. Now you can't pay the tax, so what are they going to do? They're going to come in, take your house, and then they're going to auction it off. And the hybrid or the colonist will take it at a very ridiculously low price in most cases. All right, y'all? Other times it's just straight intimidation. Right? Otherwise, it's just straight intimidation. You try to sell your products in the store, you know, your cotton or whatever it is you got, you take it to town to sell it, and then they try to intimidate you, force you to sell it at a lower price than the market value. And if you refuse it, well, they lock you up. Okay, they lock you up. And then they plan on killing you. If you're lucky, they tell you you got X amount of hours to get out of town. And if you don't leave town, they assassinate you. And on the coroner's report, what are they going to write? Unknown cause, or or something that, you know, does not implicate them. Y'all see it? And then they get your property. Okay? There's one more way that they did it. They changed laws. They changed laws so that heirs, let's say you have 4 heirs that own the property, okay? Let's say one of those heirs was a hybrid, an alleged heir, okay? And y'all know how that usually works, right? So one of them want to sell. They changed the legal system so that the heir who wants to sell can sell it, or even a partner, let's say you own land with some partners, okay, y'all in business. They can sell without informing the rest of the partner or the rest of the heirs. And you can see how that's going to create problems. Okay, so they dilute it, and eventually you have no control, and they come in and they take it over. So these are just some of the ways they stole our land. All right, but y'all can research that. But it all begins with what? You being a stateless person. You being colored, black, or Indian. Y'all see it? And then that's when they escheat you. Or attain you, or hit you with bills of attainder and bills of pains and suffering. Everybody see that? Why? Because you have no standing. You can't defend yourself. Our jurisdiction is consular court. But let me continue. Let's get through this. Okay. So let me just start with back at the top. And when satisfied, the descent of the sun in the autumn was a natural and beneficial consequence to the world, the odious scorpion had to give place to the eagle, which by the ancients was seen on the eastern horizon with the scorpion. When the bull was on the western, the lion in zenith, and the man or Aquarius on the opposite or under the meridian. The favorite position of the globe or sphere with the ancients, for these had such instruments, and with these all manner of fancy groups could be formed. And studied in chamber, that's the inner house, as well as in the expanse of the heavens. So one, they would study it theoretically, and then also do what? Observe. Okay, study, they observe with their eyes, or instrumentation, or what? With their mind. Okay, and maybe they did experiments in the inner chamber. I don't know. Okay, so let's read this footnote. We have recently finished a beautiful celestial globe in transparent sections. So y'all can Google search celestial globes if y'all want to know more about this stuff, okay? To be used with veils, globe, and sphere. The 48 constellations are colored to be easily distinguished. On the globe, all the facts referred to in Volney, Dupuis, Taylor, and others are clearly seen. So, when I have more time, some of these things I will use, some of these topics, I will show more detail using Ptolemy's Tetrabiblios. Okay? So you can have a better understanding of what's happening. But anyway, that's all the time I got, y'all. Islam to all the Moors. I'm Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. I got a win. Be sure to support my project to write the book of the law in modern English and Ancient Ibaryath, where I will restore all of the natural phenomena and then remove all Jeremiah 8:8 occurrences, which are intentional lies and deceit, all of the religion. Okay? So I'm going to remove the remix and restore it. Restore the book of the law to be a book of science again, like it originally was, without all of this religion. Okay? So, if you want to see some of the principles that I'm talking about, look in the description area of the video. You'll see the Hermetic laws, you'll see constitutional principles, you'll see a lot more. Okay, so support that. My PayPal is paypal.me/Zion Law School. All right? Make sure y'all show up on Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Y'all can come to a couple classes for free. That's where I go into Deuteronomy chapter 28, word for word, etymology, word structure, which is word morphology, and then also grammar, parts of speech, and much, much more. Okay? All right, so, 101 Ancient Ibaryath course. Y'all subscribe to the 101 Ancient Ibaryath course so you can see in action how these Bible translators take liberty to pretty much write whatever they want to support whatever their doctrine is. Okay? You can subscribe to my online class, 101 Ancient Ibaryath. The link is also in the description area of this video. And y'all will see how they play with your mind using words. Okay? Or using linguistics. All right? So, thank you in advance to everybody who has supported me, everyone who's continuing to support me, and then everyone who will. This is not easy. Okay? It's not easy. and it takes a broad knowledge base and a commitment to do this, right? So anyway, if y'all want to show some appreciation, if you're learning, or if you just want to support, I do appreciate y'all. I really, really do. Islam to all the Moors and Shalom.